The long-rumored free Lunacid DLC prequel is finally releasing, and it's coming out in 2 days! And I know, it's kind of redundant to make this sort of video a mere 2 days before the DLC releases, but this is also my only shot to make this kind of video, so I won't miss it. There's actually a surprising amount to talk about and analyze, but before we get into it, please note this video will feature spoilers for Lunacid. I should also note that despite the fact that I keep calling it a DLC throughout the video, it's more of a spin-off prequel game that you can download separately without needing to actually own Lunacid beforehand. At least from what I understand, but I'm not entirely sure, so just in case, I'll keep referring to it as a DLC, but just know that you will probably be able to play this without actually owning Lunacid beforehand. Anyhow, why don't we get right into it? The trailer starts with the game's title, in a fashion very reminiscent of the Kingsfield quadrology, which I find very charming. We then get a shot of the outside of what looks like to be some sort of town, castle, or fortress. This shot might be directly from the game's intro cutscene, since the game most likely takes place almost entirely within and nearby the Kingdom of Lyria. This might be the opening to the kingdom that we start the game from. We're then shown our very first gameplay clip, with what looks to be the inside of the fortress we enter in the previous shot. This might be the game's opening area. At the very least, it looks to be very early into the game. This shot also shows us the new UI. We have our HP and MP gauges, which unlike in the normal game actually show us how much HP and MP we have. The magic bar also seems to be reloading, which means a spell is recharging, and potentially your spells need to recharge before use anytime you enter a new room, which the next shot seems to confirm by having what looks to be near the start of a room with our MP gauge recharging, despite the player having the same amount of MP in both shots. Speaking of the next shot, originally I tried to deduce that this meant something, but not only is this just a tongue-in-cheek thing to put in for aesthetic trailer purposes, it's also very similar to one of the bullet points in this Kingsfield 2 trailer, which most likely isn't a coincidence, but if it is, then it's a wonderful coincidence. This next shot is very interesting, as it seems to show some kind of library area. Maybe these are the forbidden archives before they were cast down into the well. Considering Castle Lefanu also existed on the surface but was later transported down into the well, maybe the same thing happened with the archives. They were transported down into the well to preserve Lyria's history and wisdom? It'll be interesting to see if there really is a correlation between the two areas, or if these are just some unrelated archives. And maybe we'll get some more Daedalus lore, fingers crossed. That'd be awesome. The next shot is some big white temple area, slightly reminiscent of the sand temple in the Boiling Grotto, but that might genuinely just be a big coincidence. And next up, there's a preview of some of the new enemies. This skeleton guy looks fairly simple, and the area you fight him in looks like where the player was headed in the first gameplay shot of the trailer. I love this two-headed snail thing a lot. Its silly face and beautiful shell speak to me on a primal level. They also shoot a ranged, poisonous-looking projectile at you, which is nice since I felt Lunacid could have done with more enemies with ranged attacks. And the milk snails from the original game also had a ranged attack, so this kind of fits. There's also this weird, no clue, honestly. Whatever it is bipedal and it seems to throw rocks at you. I originally thought it spat the rocks out like a cannon larvae from Pikmin, but it seems to just chuck rocks off the ground that just ominously float into its hands. Scary! It should also be noted that the area this thing is fought in looks to be the exact same area the snails are fought in. Another bipedal enemy follows after with these buff-looking Hulk smash guys with what looks to be robes over their heads. Next there's these cool-looking knights that fucking karate chop your ass. After this enemy sizzle reel, we get to see some of the game's spells. We get to see one spell subscription, which seems to be a simple early game healing spell that heals 25 HP. The next spell we see is a fire spell that creates a wall that is fired towards the enemy. There's also another one of this enemy in the background. Next up we see the sick fire tornado looking spell which is fired towards this big praying mantis. I originally thought that this spell was used again in the next shot, but upon closer inspection this looks to be more of a sand tornado than a fire tornado. There is also a dead body on the floor. Next shot we see this weird hand with an eye poking out of the floor. This enemy seems to have some kind of charm spell casted on it, which possibly makes it passive towards the player or even fight other enemies. And now that we're done with the spells, we just get the ominous phrase of a doomed world, which is very fitting considering we know the eventual fate of Lyria within the game's story. And that seems to be where this entire DLC takes place. The shot itself looks to be a pre-rendered cutscene reminiscent of those in the Kingsfield games. We then see a dead body on the floor, with the dead deadpan text seems to be dead, popping up when it's interacted with. This body also seems to be different from the dead body previously seen in the trailer. This ominous shot sees the player walking towards the fiery pits of green hell. Yeah, sorry, I can't give any insightful commentary on this one. I'm assuming it just leads to some sort of green fire temple? Possibly the green cave area or any of the green looking areas we saw previously, but yeah, no clear answer here. The next shot has you fighting these flying guys at an indoor location, but there's a door leading straight to the outside behind it. Maybe this area is some sort of ruined town or temple, and maybe this is the same area the last shot took place in with the door to green hell. This shot has us walking towards this awesome looking door, but sadly the person playing passes up this golden opportunity of opening this majestic door and turns to the right where we see what looks to be a corpse sitting next to the wall, and what looks to be an underground temple suspended above a void. Luckily, there are safety railings to protect us from any slipping mishaps. We also find what seem to be the same skeletons from earlier in the trailer here, implying this could be an early game area or these are late game variants of said skeletons. And then we have these cool plant enemies that shoot out the same type of poisonous looking projectiles as Snail did. And the area they look to be in seems to be the same red haze one leading to green hell we've seen a couple times now. Then we see another cool knight/suit of armor looking enemy. It seems as if this specific area has multiple of these guys, with some possibly being statues and some being enemies. After that there's another shot of the red hazed area, but this time there's a big bone carcass and what looks to be a goddamn dragon just kinda laying on the floor. I don't know if this dragon is an enemy or is just a passive critter, but I guess we'll find out. Then we get another shot of the temple with the safety rails, and then the red haze area again with our first look at what the crystals will look like in this DLC. Pretty slick if I do say so myself. And after that we get to see the Moonlight Sword, which looks to be near or at the top of the fortress the game takes place in or around. And last but not least, we get a shot of the entire fortress, which could be the entire kingdom of Lyria. It seems to be on an isolated island surrounded by the poisonous sea, and it's this isolated island we'll likely spend the whole DLC's runtime on, Kingsfield 2 style. However, the trailer isn't the only information we have about the DLC though. There's a whole Steam page worth of extra goodies to analyze as well. So let's start with the screenshots. The first screenshot we see is of some ornate fountain. If I had to assume, this is likely within the first area we explore in the game. Possibly some sort of central town that we'll be spending some of the game in. The second screenshot is just that weird mantis creature that got fire tornadoed in the trailer. And the third screenshot looks to be some sort of store, possibly within the same central hub area the first screenshot was taken in. The fourth screenshot gives us another look at the library, which does look like the Forbidden Archives, honestly. There's also either an NPC reading a book that we can interact with or an enemy in the background. After that's another look at the solemn temple, another shot of the entrance to green hell. And the seventh screenshot is also super interesting. There's these two large statues of a woman with some sort of Medusa enemy floating in the background. It looks oddly majestic, and I kind of look forward to this area. Then there's another look at this save crystal in the red haze area, but from the other side of the room. Another shot at the temple with the safety railings, and last but not least, a closer look at the strange rock-chucking enemy we saw, showing that it's a strange lizard-looking creature. Whatever it is, I love it. Screenshots aren't the only thing in this little page though, there's a very short plot summary in there as well. I won't read it all verbatim, but essentially, as I've said earlier, the game will take place within the Kingdom of Lyria, and our protagonist isn't just any old bum. The protagonist is the Lyrian mage Calamus. That's Clive for playing as Clive. This DLC will show the events that lead to Lunacid, with Calamus getting a vision of the world ending and having to go to great lengths to put the great old one back to sleepy. I'm going out on a limb here and assuming that the cascading moonlight that'll fall onto Lyria is directly responsible for the creation of the Great Well, since the Great Well in itself was created by cascading moonlight. Since fire spells are shown in this trailer, I really hope Fire Witch Ashley is either shown or elaborated on, and I kind of hope we get more elaboration on obscure parts of Lunacid's lore in general, alongside new, never-before-seen insights into the game's lore. From everything that I've gathered, there seem to be around 10 separate areas within the trailer and the screenshots. I'd normally try to mention the areas and what order they appear in, but considering this game is a prequel to Lunacid, we have to remember Lunacid had a lot of non-linear exploration, where there were multiple ways to get to the same area, and there wasn't one fixed route to finish the game and reach its final areas. I feel like a lot of the areas within the trailer will be missable areas, or areas that you don't necessarily need to immediately go through. I think I can say for almost certain that this starting area, these green caves, and this hazy red area will all be required, with the hazy red area in particular possibly being some kind of mid-game crossroads that leads into multiple mid-game areas, kinda like the Sanguine Sea but like way bigger and also not as empty. Last but not least, there's a manual for us to check as well. Special thanks to Amnesiac on the Akuma Kira Discord for bringing this to my attention. I would have completely missed this otherwise. The manual doesn't exactly include that much information that we couldn't already deduce from the trailer and Steam page, but it's nice to get some confirmation on the stuff we speculated on. For example, the manual states the prequel DLC takes place several thousands of years before the events of the main game, which, jeez Louise, is Clive that old? However, it also gives us a nice story synopsis. I won't read out everything on the manual verbatim, but one nice little nugget of information the manual does state is why Calamus got a vision of the future. The reason is, some of the liquid moonlight that falls onto Laria fell directly onto his eyeball, which gave him a crazy vision of the future, which is that the Great One will soon wake up again. And since the Great One is the Dreamer, waking the Dreamer up would destroy the whole world of Lunacid, and Calamus really doesn't want that. The manual also gives us some gameplay information, including the fact that in typical King's Field fashion, your weapon deals more damage if you wait a bit before swinging it again. And that's it for the manual. The rest of the info is stuff like credits, controller support, basics of combat and magic, etc, etc. God. This video is due tomorrow, but here I am again because Akuma Kira dropped some Steam keys for Tears of Moonlight soundtrack. And wouldn't you know it, all the songs have names that may tell us a bit more about the game and its progression. I really wasn't in the mood to write and record and edit a whole bunch of stuff the day before this video was due, but you know what, fuck it, let's do it. The first song in the soundtrack is called The Garden of Laria, and it's likely referring to the first screenshot of the Steam page and to this area that we see in 2 or 3 times. The second song is titled Cave of the Earth Serpent and is likely for this underground green area, with the earth serpent in question possibly being this rock-chucking reptile. Hungry Tombs might be this area with the green-looking zombies. A choking sky likely refers to this red haze area with the ominous red sky. The Fall of Lytus Keep is a very interesting one because the name Lytus is shared with the original game's Lytus Chasm area due to the similar color schemes. I will assume this drab temple is the Lytus Keep, but the song is very upbeat, but that's my best guess either way. Invisible Aquarius could be for this area with the Medusa enemies. I'm not sure what Beneath the Poison Sea is for, but it could be any of the underground areas we've seen. The Pathway of Ruin, Kingdom of Skull, and Prison of Coffins all sound like area names, but the only thing I can guess personally is that the Pathway of Ruin is the Safety Railings Temple. I have no clue what Parasite of Dreams, In the Shadow of Verses, and The Lay of Demise are for. If I had to assume, either of the first 2 sound like they could be the final boss theme, and the third sounds like it could be the theme for finishing the game, possibly the credits or ending theme. Dungeon of Dementia sounds like it could either be a hidden away area or a credits theme, and The Picnic in Laria is just an early draft of the Garden of Laria song. I wish that I could speculate much further, but other than the things I've devised, I can't really glean much more from what we've been shown so far. Though I don't think that that's a bad thing necessarily, it still feels like there's a lot we haven't seen or haven't been shown. And it's that sense of mystery, exploration, and wonder that Lunacid is all about. The fact that this entire DLC was developed within the sort of Moonlight engine is incredibly impressive, and I look forward to seeing Kira's hard work paid off when I can finally get my doughy little hands on it. And also, not to get too ahead of myself, but there is also a second paid DLC coming which will expand upon the main game and add new areas, including the infamous ice area that was cut from the final game. I really look forward to that DLC as well, and to any future Lunacid content honestly. It's a great time to be a Lunacid fan, and I hope you'll be there when we discuss and dissect this DLC and its lore. But, excuse me, because I need to go lock my door. I've been hearing strange noises outside lately, and I don't want to risk anything. It's not like anyone comes around these parts normally anyways, but it's always good to be on the safe side. I'll be seeing you next time. Later, taters! Well, here we are again. First of all, I'd like to thank my incredible patrons, including Blue Phoenix 1, Psycho Skull, Skipatronic, VG Ceiling Fan, and Phase99. You guys are absolutely amazing, and you really help motivate me to make these videos every month. I don't have much to say other than that. I guess thank you Akuma Kira for gifting me the soundtrack. Well, they didn't directly gift it to me. It was part of like a random surprise giveaway on the Discord server. But still, thank you. And I really look forward to playing the DLC. Well, I guess the spin-off. I'm still not sure what to call it, but I guess it's more of a spin-off. But yeah, whatever. I guess I'll be seeing you all soon, because I'll be playing the DLC and making a video on that. But yeah. Later, taters.